Russia, the largest country on Earth, covering an expanse of over 17 million square kilometers. It's epic in scale. From the windswept southern grasslands and the densely forested north, to the cold seas and barren tundra bordering the Arctic coastline, this is a wild land of incredible contrasts. Raw beauty and an enclave to some of the rarest animals on Earth. Russia, one of the world's great wildernesses. In far eastern Russia lies Kamchatka, a remote haven stretching 1,200 kilometers between the Sea of Okhotsk to the west and the Pacific Ocean to the east. It's home to more than 200 volcanoes and is situated on the Pacific Ring of Fire. Kamchatka is Russia's land of fire and ice. This is one of the most volcanically active areas in the world. 29 of its snow-capped volcanoes erupt with dazzling regularity and continue to reshape this terrain. From October to late April, winter grips the peninsula. Bitter winds from the Arctic bring temperatures as low as minus 20 degrees centigrade. Kamchatka is one of the snowiest places on Earth. Snowstorms are frequent, and ice and snow form layers 1.5 meters deep. As much of the peninsula lies dormant, animals here tread a fine line between survival and succumbing to the deep freeze. Hungry, this wolverine is searching for his next meal. Appearing more like a small bear and weighing up to 18 kilograms, it is in fact the world's biggest weasel. It's an expert at surviving in Kamchatka's frozen forests and perfectly suited to this terrain. Deep snow is no barrier for this predator. His feet are so broad they work like snowshoes. He's equipped with powerful jaws and sharp claws and can kill animals as big as a deer. In this harsh environment, food is scarce and competition is stiff. Today, he struck lucky. Hare is on the menu. But there's always the possibility that he may need to fight to keep it all to himself. He will take on larger animals, wolves, even bears to defend his dinner. Today, it's another wolverine that's come looking to steal an easy meal. A fight is certain. Pound for pound, few animals can match the wolverine for strength and ferocity. Eventually, his rival backs off. In such tough times, for our victor, it's a prize worth fighting for. But the challenger has a backup plan. Wolverines are opportunistic scavengers, eating anything they can get. They've learned to survive here by storing away food for hard times like these. His superb sense of smell means he can find food almost 6 meters below the snow. The snow acts like a freezer, preserving food for months. Making sure no other animals are around, he uses his specially designed teeth to tear through flesh, even when it's frozen solid. His jaws are powerful, and this combined with special molars allow him to eat every part of the animal, including bones and teeth. For its size, a wolverine can eat more in one sitting than any other animal, which is how it earned its nickname, the glutton. To make it through the harsh winter, this wolverine will have to battle hunger, cold, and other wolverines. Kamchatka can sit in solid ice and snow for 6 months of the year. Even the sea succumbs. As the savage cold continues to bite, the salty sea of Okhotsk on the western coast of Kamchatka freezes. Throughout the winter, the ice sheets thicken and expand. By March, 80% of the 1.5 million square kilometers surface can be covered in free-floating sea ice. The Steller's sea eagle, one of the world's largest raptors, takes refuge along these shores. Around 5,000 of these eagles are left in the wild, and Kamchatka is home to several hundred of them. During winter, many migrate south to Japan, but some remain here at their breeding ground. Their sheer size helps them to survive in cold climates. In full flight, their wingspan reaches 2.5 meters, and they can weigh up to 9 kilograms. They're one of nature's most skillful hunters. Slowly circling the ice, razor-sharp eyes scan the sea for any sign of prey. One flicker of movement is all it takes. But catching a fish does not guarantee a meal. There are eyes everywhere. Competition is fierce among these normally solitary birds. Fights over food are common and can be bloody. Beaks, talons, and wings are all used as weapons. But their fight provides another eagle with an opportunity. and he takes possession of the prey. In Russia's Kamchatka, there are signs winter's begun surrendering its grip. But the weak sun offers little comfort to those that live in Kamchatka's forests. Measuring little more than 20 centimeters long and weighing just under 50 grams, Kamchatka is also home to the world's smallest carnivore, the least weasel. In snow-covered regions, these tiny hunters transform their brown summer coats. This color change is driven by daylight hours rather than temperature. Further south, in areas where snow is scarce, weasels remain brown all year round. But not all animals are so fortunate. Unable to change their appearance, voles stand out in stark contrast whenever they leave the safety of their burrows. A network of shallow tunnels is the safest way of getting around. But these covered superhighways aren't continuously linked. Running the gauntlet between territories comes at a great risk, especially when sharp-eyed and sharp-toothed hunters are on the prowl. What this weasel lacks in size, it more than makes up for in its ferocity. Agile and quick, his slender body is a perfect fit for the vole's underground home. Once cornered, there is no escape. This weasel has a huge appetite. He must consume roughly 40% of his body weight in food every day just to survive. It won't be long before he'll hunt again. As April draws to a close, longer days and stronger sunshine signal a change. Ice and snow begin to melt, feeding rivers and lakes. The first signs of new life come into view. Stirring creatures from their winter slumber. Once again, Russia's largest bears emerge from their dens and roam across the peninsula. Kamchatka's bears even outsize some North American grizzlies. Males can reach 3 meters tall and weigh close to a ton. Today, there are over 10,000 bears here. The highest density of brown bears on Earth. Bears can lose up to half their body weight whilst hibernating. Every bear's exit from its winter den marks the start of a race, against time. They only have the brief spring and summer seasons to pack on the pounds or face certain death come winter. Until the salmon run starts in late June, the bears seek out succulent roots, berries, and bugs. Bears' thick coats make the perfect breeding ground for parasites. A back scratch offers some relief. But one of their favorite pastimes is to soak and doze in one of the many thermal pools found in the Valley of the Geysers. This concentration of geysers, one of only 5 in the world, offers respite for the bears. At 35 degrees centigrade, not only is it relaxing, the sulfate-rich spa water rids the fur of parasites. It's May, and the long winter at Russia's Sea of Okhotsk has run its course. For 6 months of the year, these waters remain frozen. But as the ice melts during spring, plankton, locked within, bursts into life. And the sea becomes a planktonic soup filled with food. These tiny plants and creatures prop up the entire aquatic food chain. And an abundance of fish come here to feed. These waters are some of the richest fishing grounds in the world. One of nature's most skillful marine predators are in prime position to take advantage. These giants spend all their summers here, feeding, warming themselves in the sun, and raising pups. Named after the naturalist George Wilhelm Steller, who first described them in 1742, Steller sea lions are the largest of all sea lions. They can reach over 3 meters in length and weigh more than a ton. Sounding like a group of grumpy old men, the males constantly fight for a better position on coastal rocks. Steller sea lions need an enormous amount of food to survive. Each day, they must eat around 6% of their body weight. They're opportunistic hunters. They'll eat just about anything they can catch. Sea lions may seem cumbersome on land, but underwater is where they show off their super skilled moves. Small fish like these herring sense predators are near. In a last-ditch defensive formation, they pack tightly together, known as a bait ball. The innermost fish are protected, but the outer ones vulnerable to predators. Streamlined and sleek, the sea lions can hit speeds of up to 35 kilometers an hour. They pick off the herring one by one. Predatory seabirds arrive to join the feast and begin their assault. Propelling themselves with strong wings and webbed feet, they can outswim the herring. They push the fish into an even tighter bait ball, maneuvering gracefully around their catch. In a matter of minutes, the shoal is almost decimated, leaving one creature to finish the feast. Humpback whales can reach 16 meters in length and weigh up to 40 tons, making them the fifth largest animal on the planet. These humpbacks have spent the winter in the warmer tropical waters south of Japan and have returned to spend their summer here at their feeding grounds in the Sea of Okhotsk. The humpbacks come here to take advantage of the plankton bloom and the abundance of small schooling fish and swarms of tiny shrimp-like crustaceans known as krill to fuel their enormous frames. In contrast to humpbacks, others go for much larger prey. Orcas. These apex predators are named after the Roman god of the underworld. Transient pods of orcas are more aggressive than their resident counterparts and are referred to as the wolves of the sea because they tend to hunt in packs. Stellar sea lions are no match for an orca. Ambushing from below, the orca debilitates its prey. Its reward, a calorie-rich meal. Enough to sustain an orca for 2 to 3 days. As summer advances, Kamchatka's brown bears, normally solitary creatures, begin to gather along rivers and streams. In particular, they head to the shores of Lake Kuril, one of the world's largest spawning grounds for sockeye salmon. The bears are anticipating a prolific invasion. Here they wait, hungry and irritable, for the arrival of more than 6 million salmon, traveling upstream to their birthplace to spawn. This is the bear's annual feast that will prepare them for the peninsula's prolonged and cold winter. The first fish slowly arrive at the lake. The bears are ready for a feast. But until these shallows teem with fish, catching a salmon now will be no easy feat. Wasting their energy on these few will be futile. These bears need to put on enough fat to see them through the winter. The rich, fatty fish will eventually provide all the nutrients they need. But they will have to wait a little longer. Soon, the salmon run will begin. Kamchatka's freshwater rivers are also home to another remarkable predator. A splash gives it away. The European river otter is one of 13 otter species. All are members of the weasel family. Weighing up to 9 kilograms, these mammals are twice the size of a domestic cat. They're specially adapted for an aquatic lifestyle. Webbed feet allow them to power through the water. Their short, dense fur keeps them warm by trapping air close to their body. And they can hold their breath underwater for up to 2 minutes. Winter always cuts short fishing. But now, this pair are making the most of the warmer weather. Catching a meal, however, can be challenging. Sensitive whiskers help the otter pick up vibrations of passing fish, which compensates for poor visibility underwater. One theory suggests that otters can smell underwater by exhaling a small bubble from their nose towards their prey and sniffing back in. It's one of just 2 creatures thought to have this ability, the other being a land-dwelling mole. They're streamlined hunters. Though these fish are fast, they're no match for this predator's agility. Sharp teeth make light work of their meal. Otters need to eat up to 15% of their body weight each day to fuel their fast metabolisms. But all that food can weigh an otter down. It takes an hour to digest the fish. An afternoon nap will do the trick. Having spent 2 years at sea, sockeye salmon have begun their migration to Kamchatka's freshwater streams in which they were born to achieve their ultimate goal. It's a spectacle that fuels the region's sprawling network of rivers. Virtually all life here relies on the existence of these determined fish. The rivers themselves depend on micronutrients brought in from the sea, and in turn, they provide a perfect spawning habitat. But not all of the salmon will complete their mission to make it home and spawn the next generation. Their journey ahead will be fraught with danger. As day breaks at Lake Kuril, rains bring good news for Kamchatka's bears. As the water levels rise, the salmon's instincts are triggered. And finally, the salmon run begins in earnest. Wave upon wave of salmon teem into the waters to spawn. And the hungry bears are ready to greet them. Capable of running nearly 50 kilometers per hour, a nearly 1-ton adult bear will catch and devour a salmon every 20 minutes. Each salmon is worth roughly 4,500 calories, and every bear will consume around 20,000 each day. The next few weeks are a critical time in the bear's calendar. During the height of the salmon run, bears will gain between 1 to 2 kilograms in weight every day. The salmon are the bear's only chance of putting on enough fat to see them through the winter. When salmon numbers are high, bears are known to switch to eating just the fatty parts of the fish. Fat has more than twice the calories of protein, and bears will devour the brains, skin, and eggs before discarding the rest and moving on to the next fish. As summer draws to a close, and with their bellies now full, Kamchatka's bears have more time on their hands. When food is so abundant, they don't have to spend all day looking for and competing for it. Instead, they spend their waking hours practicing for battle. These two are in fight school, learning how to grab and tackle. These are skills they'll need as adults when the fights turn real and they battle for a mate. When food levels are low, male bears have been known to kill young cubs if they come between him and his fish. But now, with food in abundance and threat levels lifted, cubs who were once confined to the outskirts can take advantage of the more relaxed atmosphere. It's an exciting time. Catching a fish takes skill, and these cubs have a lot to learn. Luckily for them, their mother is on hand to show them how it's done. But when catching your own fish feels like an impossible task, this cub can rely on its mum. They will remain with their mother for 2 to 3 years. She will not become pregnant again until they are weaned. That leaves more than enough time for learning and for play. Having lost the battle of the bears, it's the end of the road for millions of salmon. But the survivors forge ahead to their final destination. Upon reaching their natal streams, the females build nests, little depressions in the gravel. The males fight each other for spawning rights. Only the most dominant will win the right to court the female and fertilize her eggs. This is the ultimate reward for an arduous journey, fraught with danger. These salmon have made it. But this was always going to be a one-way ticket. The journey home to spawn has taken its toll on their bodies. They have given their all to reproduce just once. This final act marks the end of their life. In a few years to come, their offspring will run the same gauntlet. As the last salmon spawn, there's a chill in the air. It won't be long before it's time for the bears to head back to their dens for hibernation. The cubs have learned about tenacity and patience in this unforgiving landscape. In a world ruled by the changing seasons, a few extra salmon might mean the difference between starvation and survival. The Kamchatka Peninsula, a stunning landscape of primal beauty. From the still, white, frozen tundra, fuming volcanoes, and steaming hot springs, to the gentle thawing of ice, an awakening of wildlife in spring. Its extremes are awe-inspiring. The salmon's annual migrations are a miracle of nature. And the world's largest congregations of brown bears and stellar sea eagles thrive. In this wild place where few people have ventured, Kamchatka is a pristine wilderness, preserved by its remoteness, perched on the edge of the world.